I'm pretty confident that they haven't drawn out all the frames in here. Yep. Oh, and can someone grab me an empty deep from over there? Thank you. So up top here, what you'll see are four frames that the bees have drawn out up above here. And so there aren't enough bees for them to fill this cavity. Thank you. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to push the bees down into one deep, and that way they're going to winter in one box. And you'll want that one box to weigh about 75 pounds. And so we can weigh it and see where they're at and feed them if they need to be fed. And it's ideal to do it this time of year. It's still warm out and you can feel pretty safe and comfortable about them being down there. They won't swarm because there's really no reason for them to swarm. And so I'm going to double check that the frame down here, remember how we moved a frame up and then put an empty one down below? We're going to make sure that that frame is drawn out as well, and if it's not, we'll take something from up here that is and put it back down. Population's decent. There's about 7 frames of bees, and by the time they go into winter, they should be covering at least 8, which should be enough. And the outside frame is not full, so good thing to keep an eye on. This girl is biting me.
Would 8 be enough if it had been two deeps? 8 frames of honey?
If the colony is filling both deeps, bees and frames, yes, 8 frames up above would be enough, but you'd want some down below too.
Got it.
So this frame is partially drawn out, which I'm not pleased with, so I am going to exchange it for something down below. You can tell the bees are a little agitated this time of year. It was really pretty cold last night, and not a whole lot of them are flying, so I'm just going to set these aside for now. Because we want our mite check, I'm going to pull that real quick. Okay. The other thing you can do, did you notice how the 8 frames of bees were on one side? You can do what's called centering the brood nest. So when I put the frames back in, I'm actually going to move the brood nest this way and put a frame of honey on the outside. So this is a lot of sealed brood. Like I said, by the time they winter, all this will emerge and then they'll be filling a lot of the box out. And my uncle early on taught me that bees want to be crowded, especially when it comes to wintering. Not when it comes to swarming, right? But like, it's going to be easier for them to maintain temperature if they have a big cluster of bees.
But a swarm could still happen in certain cases, huh?
What's that?
A swarm could still happen, like...
It's highly unlikely.
Okay, good.
Unless there's nectar coming in.
Yeah. Oh boy, here they go.
And I don't care about seeing my queen. At the moment, I'm pretty certain she's in here. Even if she wasn't, there wasn't much I could do unless I had another hive to combine it with. Yeah. These are nice and sassy today. Put it back in, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to peek at one more just to get an idea. Yeah, this is all sealed brood. And there, I can see a few eggs in there, but like I said earlier, not a lot. So I'm going to go to the other side of the box. And I'm going to push all these frames together. And looking at the outside frame, also not, it's totally drawn out, but there could be more honey in there. So this will be nice that we're moving one down.
That's the top box.
This is from the top box. See, these are totally empty. This was the drone comb in the form of a super frame that I just left in there because it had honey on it for them. Okay. So I'm going to choose the best frame, which is this big fatty right here.
That's all real honey. That's amazing.
This is a nice amount of honey. And brand new, right? You can tell by the wax. Okay. Now, if you're doing this and you don't feel very confident about where the queen is, I'm 99% sure she's not up here because there's no reason for her to be up here. There's no brood or eggs or anything like that. So we're going to take the deep, empty bead and use it as a funnel. This is the frame I pulled out first. I'm going to put that back in. So you're going to shake the bees off of all the frames into that box. I'm going to set these aside for now.
Because there's not going to be a top box.
There's not going to be a top box.
And they'll all fit in the bottom box?
They'll all fit in here, yeah. You'll take every frame out. Again, really no bees up here. Now you've got some frames that are pretty well drawn out for next year, which you'll use when you add your second box in the spring to this hive. The really cool thing about overwintering in a single is this colony will explode in May, and you'll make a lot of honey. New queen, they want to expand, and they'll be able to brood up earlier because they have a smaller area that they have to keep. People get really nervous and don't believe me, but I've overwintered single colonies, and I'm always just astounded. I think the key to wintering is making sure whatever cavity they're in, the bees are filling that entire cavity. Then you take your box. I'm just going to double check. And then I'm just going to bonk it.
Were you double checking for the queen?
Yeah. We've got our very healthy mite checking sample here. Okay. And then you take your box away.
All those bees that didn't get in there, will they find their way back?
Yeah, they know where they're going.
The ones behind you. And all those frames and things. They'll know.
Yeah, they'll come back. So I'm going to assume we're going to feed this at some point, even though we might not. And I'm just going to put the inner cover on in the position where it allows for feeding, which leaves a little hole here. But then you can put your bucket there if you need to feed. Okay. The problem with this, you don't want to squish all those bees. You want to wait till they kind of go in a little bit.
So you don't know if you're going to feed yet because you're going to weigh it first.
Yeah, and we'll let them settle down and all get in there, right? If we weigh them now, it's kind of not super accurate. Yeah. So I put this on a little cockeyed so that I didn't squish the bees, and we'll just wait a little bit till things calm down.
So, would that be true in the spring feeding too? I've never done that thing of switching it around so that the hole was at the bottom like that. The inner cover.
It just depends on what kind of inner cover you have. Some have space on either side. This one is designed so it's flat on the top, so that when you put your second deep on to cover the bucket up, there's going to be a hole that goes into where the bucket is, and you don't want that because then robbers will go in towards the sugar syrup. It'll make sense when we start feeding. Okay,